What's up guys, Josh here from Mixing Mango, and I wanted to talk a bit about the update that was released yesterday, and that, if you don't know, was the private Godwars and stat buffs update. So firstly I'll start by saying, if you haven't seen my video yesterday, you can watch it, but just remember that I made that video literally 5 minutes after the update was out, so I didn't really know all the other major problems it's caused in terms of weapons and stuff. So I was kind of just testing the hardware in that in that video rather. So yeah, so just when you watch it, just take that into account. So first off, Drygor nerfs and Soul Split nerfs. So I'll start off with Soul Split. I'm not sure what happened here. They reduced it to 5% heal instead of 20%, and I'm not really sure why. I didn't think Soul Split was a problem, and no one had actually complained about Soul Split, so I'm not quite sure why that happened. And they did remove the cap, so that is quite nice to see. But 5% really isn't a lot. You have to hit 5k to get the previous heal. Or rather, no, you have to. Is that right? I think it might be 5k. To get, yeah, because it was capped at 250 before, so you have to get 5k to hit to heal 250, which 5k isn't really a common hit. Before the update, I was hitting 3ks mainly, and then 5ks every now and again. So that's a bit disappointing. I mean, it would be nice. I think 10%, now that it's uncapped, 10% is probably a bit too much. But then 5% is a bit too little. So maybe even 7.5, maybe something a bit higher. Because if you're constantly hitting 3ks with 10%, then that's 300 heal. So it might be a bit much. But I think 7.5 would probably be a decent number. So yeah, Soul Split, I'm not sure why that was nerfed, but I think they just rework that slightly, or even, I guess if they do leave it, it's not too bad, because now it's more of a support role, which is kind of annoying, because it costs 60 mil to get, and now it's made kind of useless. But we'll see what they do with that in the future. So second thing is Drygors. Drygors were nerfed yesterday, but their accuracy's pretty much been halved, which it puts them near Chaotix now, a lot nearer than before. So I think they have 2.5k accuracy, and a Chaotic has 2k. It's something like that. So the difference isn't too much anymore. And people are actually using Mauls rather than Drygors, even if they had Drygors banked. That's sort of the extent that they've been nerfed to. But I will keep my Drygors, and they have actually attempted to buff it, which they said that while they're not changing the accuracy, they were calculating hit chance wrong or something. So now Drygors will seem better as well. So I mean, that's quite nice to see, but it is still nerfed. And to be quite honest, I don't completely mind. I mean, the main problem with it is it's just devalued Drygor so much. Apparently dual maces dropped 30 mil yesterday in one day, so that's a massive price drop right there. But then the thing is, it's no longer just melee scape or Drygor scape anymore. You can actually use different stuff, and you do have to use the monster's weakness. Especially KK, Drygors are no longer the best thing to use all around. So that's kind of I'm not really sure about that, to be honest. I would prefer if they hadn't nerfed it, but I can see why they did, and it's not too bad, really. And okay, so I did quite a bit of QBD yesterday, and I did notice the difference, but it's not a major difference. You'll still survive. Before QBD, I just wouldn't miss a hit. Now I miss 2 every 5 to 10 hits, maybe. It's not a massive nerf, but it is there, and I guess it is quite annoying. So the other thing that was released was armor changes. So now there are offensive, defensive, and hybrid armors, which like it was a nice, like a good attempt at doing it, but I'm not really sure if it's worked out fully. Like, okay, so offensive armors, they give you a damage boost, but they're also, well, they're supposed to give you 10% more damage. I'm not sure if that is from the damage that they've applied to each piece of the armor, or if it's additional 10% on top. But that doesn't seem to work really. The damage boost, I'm not really sure what's happened there, or at least it's not noticeable. So that's kind of disappointing. But maybe that's just a bug, so they'll fix that. I'm not really sure. Tank armor it is pretty good, and I saw like Dardan soloing Godwars and Tetsu didn't even take any damage in tank armor. So like obviously that's the best armor in the game, but I mean tank armor is going to be pretty useful if you just don't want to take any damage at all. And then you got Tribrid, which I haven't seen anyone use it. I'm not sure what armors are Tribrid, so I can't really say anything about that. But in terms of offensive and defensive, Tetsu is the best defensive armor in the game, and next sets are the best offensive armors in the game. So I don't see next sets dropping too much, and they're actually really useful. Like I think Dardan was doing better in Torva than Tetsu and next solo, so they will help. And like if you're tanking, they will probably want Tetsu just to get all that defense and life point bonus. But like using offensive gear for attacking helps a lot. So it actually does have quite a bit of use there. And like Bandos is offensive as well, which I would have thought it's defensive. But so they've made Barrows defensive now, so I think a lot of people will actually buy Barrow sets just if they can't afford next sets, which a lot of people can't. So the next thing is boss buffs. So I mean a lot of bosses have been buffed. Well, no, it's just next, I think. But the main reason people say like a lot of bosses have been buffed is because of the Drygor nerf. And that relates back to there's less accuracy, so it seems bosses are harder. But I do actually I'm not sure if all the Godwars bosses were buffed. I know Next definitely was, and it's now unsolable at the moment. Maybe people will find a way, but at the moment you definitely can't solo it. But I'm not sure if the rest were actually buffed. I guess I'll have to give them all a go and see. But in terms of the buff, I mean this is probably where I disagree with quite a lot of people. So I actually think the buff was actually pretty good to bosses, because the thing is it takes it back to kind of pre-EOC now. So you will need, like with the stat update, you will need high stats, you'll need good gear to effectively do bossing, and you also need bigger teams again. Like Godwars wasn't supposed to be soloed for like 300 kill count, so now like you can still solo, I think, but it's gonna be like you're gonna get like 50 kill count or something. It's nothing as much as before, and you can't even solo next anymore. Like even QBD, I noticed, because of that soul split's been nerfed, it means you get less kills than Invent at QBD, so you only get like 1 or 2 compared to like the 10 you could get before, which is kind of crazy. But so like I think I don't mind boss buffs as long as prices go up, which we can't, like there's nothing that Jagex can do about that. We'll see if prices do go up, but because I think like a lot of bosses you're going to need teams now, which is good. Like you're not going to be soloing as much anymore, you've got to have a team. So I just hope that the splits are still worth it, because like current BCPs is like 11 mil, at least it was before the update. I'm not sure if it's crashed or gone up, but like I don't want to be splitting that like 4-way when like before I could just solo it. So I mean I hope prices do rise of gear, just so it makes it worth going in larger teams, because you will have to now, especially for like next, you're going to need trios, I think, or maybe like Tetsu duos probably, but I think a lot of people will just be trioing and 4-manning next, so teams will be a lot more important. And that's like so that's what I think about the buff. Like, I know a lot of people just don't like it, but bosses are a lot more fun when it's more challenging and it's a lot harder, so I think it will be quite good and people get used to it. So I think the buff was needed and it was actually quite good. And now there's one thing I found in the forums. So this is just Mod Avatar and Mod Crisel posting on the forum. So they said, Mod Avatar said that they're looking into further changes to the recent update. So they want to maintain a decent hit rate across all styles, and they said altering the effect of the triangle is the main focus of the change. The main focus of the change we are intending to make. So yeah, they're gonna try and rebalance the combat triangle a bit more. That update will be sometime within the next week. And then Mod Crisel said there's a hit chance update. So it was too harsh in accuracy versus non-same class targets, resulting in the triangle being over-enforced. So they've already made a change to resolve this. And so the example was like, if you had 99 attack with Drygors, you had a terrible hit chance against a magic monster, but you're strong against melee. So they kind of want to, while you should still be weak against a magic monster, you shouldn't not be able to hit it, which was happening before. So a hot fix has already been released to fix this a bit, but the final version, coupled with stats, potion and prayer, means that it will work how they want it to work. And so people who do fight with potions and prayer to bypass weakness as the so if people use potions and prayers to bypass weakness, then that will help their accuracy greatly. So like at the moment, like I said, you can't hit a mage guy with Drygors, but if you're going to use like turmoil and overloads, then by the end of this update, then that you should be able to like stand a decent chance against it. But obviously you'll be weak to the mage guy. You will actually be able to hit it, so that's definitely good. And they're putting into this is being put into a build for a projected release of tomorrow morning, so the 2nd. Hopefully that will happen. We'll see. And even just like any time by the end of this week, if they can just perfect this update a bit more, then that'll be greatly appreciated. So I hope they do that. So that's pretty much just a discussion of the update. So I've had a bit more time to play around with it, see what's happened with it. And like there are some things that I'd like them to change, and there are some actually good things they did do. And like the stat buffs definitely was good, but I think the main problem is that they just didn't tell people what else was happening. Like I expected that my 99 attack would help me a lot more in combat. I didn't realise they were halving the accuracy of Drygors. So I mean, if they had a bit more communication with the community about the update, then maybe that could have helped a bit. But I mean, that's all done now, so the update's ready in the game. So that's kind of a shame, but I think a lot of the stuff is needed, and people will get used to it, so like they always do. And like thing with the boss buffs, I think it is needed, and people will see that. And if the prices go up, then it will definitely be a good update. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you later.